This is the Hidden Killers Podcast with Tony Bruschi and continuing coverage of the case against Bryan Kohberger.
It is chilling to realize that for someone like Bryan Kohberger, getting caught might not have been the worst case scenario. Wrap your mind around that for a second. Actually, it might have been the silver medal, the sick consolidation prize he was entirely willing to accept. All along, we wondered, was his goal to kill and disappear into anonymity, silently laughing as he lectured rooms full of eager criminology students who would never guess he was the monster they were studying? Or was getting caught, becoming infamous, and forever cementing himself in the twisted pantheon of true crime celebrity killers his real ambition? From day one, to unpack that psychological labyrinth, I'm joined again by retired FBI Special Agent Robin Dreeke, former chief of the Counterintelligence Behavioral Analysis Program. Robin's an expert at decoding even the darkest and most cryptic human behaviors, and if there's anyone who can help us get inside the eerie quiet of Kohberger's mind, it is him. Today, we're taking a hard look at what justice really means in a case like Kohberger's. From the very first moments of his guilty plea hearing, it was clear we weren't dealing with typical courtroom theatrics. Instead, we witnessed something more disturbing. A man who seemed energized, eager even, to finally step fully into the spotlight he'd so violently stolen for himself. It's unsettling to realize that every punishment our system has to offer, imprisonment, isolation, notoriety, is exactly what Kohberger might desire. It's as if he's hacked the system, turning justice into a sick form of reward. Rob and I wrestle with that uncomfortable truth. Is this man actually happier now, knowing he'll forever be studied, scrutinized, and dissected? Could solitary confinement, the harshest punishment available, be exactly what he craves? An opportunity for endless reflection on his accomplishment? We are going to grapple with the terrifying notion that our justice system, designed to punish and protect, might inadvertently be giving this monster precisely what he wanted all along. Throughout our discussion, Robin lays bare the psychological intricacies at play here, how Kohberger's complete lack of emotional depth and his disturbing grandiosity make traditional ideas of punishment almost meaningless. We also dive into the conflicted emotions swirling around the victims' families, who must now live with the reality that Kohberger's punishment could very well double as his reward. Before we hear from Robin, I want you to consider one chilling thought. Can justice truly exist when the guilty see their sentence as their crowning achievement? Is there any punishment severe enough for someone who views notoriety as victory? In the comments section on YouTube, I want to hear your voice, so let me know what your thoughts are. If you're not on YouTube right now, if you're listening to us on the podcast platforms, hit subscribe there, please. And then also do join us on YouTube. Search Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi so you can comment and let your voice be heard. All along, I mean, from the very beginning, I think we hypothesized on the idea that, did he do this to get on the ride, basically, to get on the horrible ride of murder and to experience what this is like? But what's the end goal? Was it to get caught? I think there might have been options there, and I don't think any of them were particularly of opposition to him. Again, my conjecture, I think the ideal goal might have been, go do this, don't get caught, and then teach about it. And then and be this infamous person, but you're the only one who knows who you are. And then you can be the smartest person in the room because you can teach about it because you did it, but nobody knows that you did it. And you can be the one that has all these genius insights into this mind that can't be understood and can't be, isn't found because nobody knows who he is or where he is, but you're the one giving it and no one's the wiser. Like, the joke's on you. I think that was probably the ultimate. But I think he was resigned to the secondary prize, which wasn't Rice-A-Roni, the San Francisco treat. It was getting caught and then being exactly what you talked about, being the one that gets studied, but also then being that figure that's going to get the letters, that's going to get the attention, that's going to have movies made about him. I mean, and there doesn't seem to be a way around this one where he's not essentially getting what he wants. Honestly, I feel like the only way out of this one is him dying. So he's not there to enjoy it.
Hence, that's why 2 of the 4 families are distraught over the fact he's not getting death penalty, which he still wouldn't have died for a long time anyway.
Yeah.
It's the criminal justice system. I was thinking about this heavily last night. There is no justice that our current system has that can right this wrong.
No.
He wins.
Yeah.
He's he's on plan B, but plan B is completely fine with him. And I don't think this was part of it. Again, I don't think he thinks as in depth about himself or I think he does. His ability to be self-aware enough in these areas. I think we are helping him think this through. I'm not helping him, but you see what I mean? I think we're on to something he was intuitively doing. We're giving him a little more credit, I think, for being proactively strategizing plan B. I think he recognized plan B as it materialized in the jail cell when they approached him with the plea agreement. Then all of a sudden his brain went to plan B, and all of a sudden we're saying, oh yeah, he's winning. Ann Taylor won because she saved his life, and he's winning because he's getting the life that he wants. He wants to be studied. In other words, he's not teaching about himself, but he's still going to be the subject of investigation. I mean, I hate that. Yeah. It doesn't that tear you up saying it?
Our justice system is not designed for a human being like this.
No,
it is designed to punish. It is designed to give the worst of the worst to the worst people out there. But it's twisted when the worst of the worst want what it offers. And that's what's happening here.
The families, I don't want to speak for the families at all, but again, trying to my best to put myself in those shoes, I would imagine they'd want him to suffer. They want him to feel remorse, pain, anguish, resentment that he's in prison arrested, all these emotions are what they want from him. And meanwhile, I think from what we're saying, man, he's gonna like it too much. It's horrible.
I agree. I feel like it's not. I mean, like I was very pro death on this one because I just feel like
unless I tell you, I heard he's going to be maximum security. You know, I think the only justice can be done isolation supermax. Yeah. Because Robert Hansen, the FBI spy that was caught, he was convicted and sentenced to life in prison in Supermax. He got 1 hour of sunshine a day for his entire life. That's what Kohberger should get. I don't know if they can impose that sentence on him, but the only justice to me is isolation, no outside contact. You die in a cell. That's completely it, because you can't give him what he wants.
I feel like, and that's, again, it's opposite land here with Kohberger. At least in my opinion, It feels like it's like saying, Dracula, you have to sleep in a casket. You're going to be in this small room and you get a casket, Dracula. That's all you get. Dracula's like, all right, this is great. I feel kind of like maybe this is like we're putting him in his natural environment. Like, I don't think he minds the isolation. I think he's made a lot of peace with that. But I mean, the level of isolation to which he's about to receive is beyond, I think, anyone's comprehension.
And what I mean by that too is, I think because the parents said, him being able to breathe, him being able to interact with other people, him being able to then profit in any way whatsoever from what he did is just another stab wound to the families. And so being able to deny him all those things is what I would think, even though he still might be fine with isolation, all the things we're saying, being able to at least deny him those other things that would prevent more pain being inflicted on the victims.
It's interesting because Catherine, when she was talking with Brian Enton on News Nation the other night, and I'm not quoting directly here, but paraphrasing, she said something to the effect of, he has the intellectual capacity to reflect on his actions, and she's really curious to study him She's open to going and trying to get behind this brain because she believes, from her own interactions with him when he was her student, that he is intelligent, that he can reflect on his own actions and doings. There's not the emoting complex necessary to it where he's going to necessarily feel appropriate emotions for what he's done, but it's just that cold, calculated, very mechanical way of reflecting. And this is my conjecture here, where he can look back on it and maybe walk us through, kind of like in the Ed Kemper sort of way, or some of the other, infamous serial killers that we've seen. My mind's going to like Mindhunter, and some of the examples that that were written about in the book and demonstrated in the series, where I could see him being one that just comes out, has a fairly calm conversation with somebody, seems like somewhat normal on the surface, until he just starts talking about how he decided to go butcher these kids up one day and talks about it like he's ordering a, Arch Deluxe from McDonald's, even though they discontinued them 10 years ago.
To the detriments of the family, I do think we can learn a lot from him, because he doesn't strike me as an individual like many of these psychopaths, serial killers that we've had in the past. He doesn't strike me as a deceptive individual. Yeah. In a sense of, I think he, because his level of no emotion is so low that, and remember, psychopathy doesn't indicate your level of intelligence either. He's extremely intelligent. And I think, in other words, we have no data points of deception with the exception of the fact that, he was hiding that what he was doing here, but then ultimately he did confess. Yeah. So it'll be really interesting. I think because he is a different nut. He's like he's what you picture when you picture a serial killer. Mm-hmm. And so I think the family's loss is tragic. I'm hoping we can learn enough to recognize earlier other Kohbergers if people are going in to study him, because I think there's a lot to learn.
What are we going to learn? I guess that is the big question. And I'm not opposed to studying him. I'm not. As much as it's you're giving him what he wants, but are we doing it for the greater good? And I think, if I was Steve Gonsalves, again, you'd have to really be checking me for a plastic gun when it comes into, I think, going into that sentencing.
Wholeheartedly.
Because I'd be willing to go down for my kid and ending this. But
they got to give it time though, too. You can't, you got to let the victims take a breath.
Yeah. I wouldn't expect them to be...
Let the pain and suffering and isolation wear in for a couple of years and then start maybe.
I do not blame them for their reactions and being vehemently opposed to this. Listening to Robin dissect the psychology behind Bryan Kohberger's chilling motivations is a stark reminder that not all punishments are created equal. For most of us, prison, isolation, and a lifetime of scrutiny would feel like the end, like a nightmare we desperately avoided. For someone like Kohberger, these things might feel disturbingly close to success. The twisted pinnacle of a life previously filled with emptiness and rejection, that's the grim irony we're facing. Our system is designed to punish. But for Kohberger, punishment could very well mean validation. Robin made a critical point about Kohberger's potential desire for anonymity, that dream of committing an atrocity and getting away clean, becoming the secret, smartest guy in the room who could casually lecture on his own unsolved crimes. Yet even failing at that, even getting caught, seems to hold an alluring attraction for him. Now he's guaranteed a permanent place in the annals of infamy, studied and dissected by criminologists and psychologists alike. He's achieved notoriety, precisely the kind he may have always desired. But what does that say about our justice system? Robin emphasized the uncomfortable reality that our methods of punishment, confinement, isolation, even death, may fall spectacularly short when faced with someone who actually wants those outcomes. It's horrifyingly like other cases. It's horrifyingly like offering Dracula a coffin and explaining to him, here you go. Here's your casket, and expecting him to be unhappy. For Kohberger, solitary confinement might not be punishment. It might be comfort. Isolation might not be torture. It might feel like home. We can't lose sight of the victims' families who are now forced to grapple with this brutal paradox. Their frustration and agony are palpable, understandably so, because how do you find solace when the punishment for the man who took your loved ones may, in his twisted mind, amount to reward? The pain these families endure doesn't fade with a guilty plea. If anything, it intensifies. Knowing the killer may see his punishment as validation. As Robin suggested, maybe the only true form of justice here is total isolation. Complete and absolute denial of human interaction, contact, and acknowledgement. But even that solution is imperfect because it still grants Kohberger the twisted notoriety he sought. Ultimately, our conversation with Robin leaves us facing some profoundly unsettling questions. Can true justice ever be served when the convicted murderer finds solace in notoriety? Can closure ever come to the families when the killer seems indifferent, even satisfied with his fate? This isn't just a discussion about one man's sick quest for infamy. It's a gut check moment for how we define justice itself. Because when punishment begins to look like reward, we might have to reconsider everything we thought we knew about delivering justice to those who least deserve it. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section on YouTube. If you're not there already, search Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi so you can join us there as well. Hit subscribe. You can watch our video version and get us there. And if you're on the podcast platforms, wherever it may be, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, hit subscribe there as well so you don't miss any of our coverage on this case and the many that we follow for you right here at the Hidden Killers Podcast and True Crime Today. I'm Tony Bruschi. Thank you so much for watching and listening. We'll talk again real soon.
Craving non-stop true crime updates? Press subscribe now and get the latest cases, analysis, and expert commentary delivered straight to your feed. Only from the Hidden Killers Podcast and True Crime Today.